Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has reaffirmed his acceptance of the presidential peace edict and his commitment to executing it. He says he studied the terms and discovered that the peace pact is not as bad as it may be portrayed. Governor Fubara made his reaffirmation during a Christmas broadcast in Port Harcourt. The governor, who believes no price is too much to pay for peace, added that the pact is not a death sentence, but directs ways to lasting peace and stability in the state.
As I have earlier promised, the mantra of our administration is continuity and consolidation. I wish to reiterate that nothing shall constrain us from our part in our commitment to provide a steady flow of the dividend of democracy in all positive ramifications to our dear states. I must heartily thank all the good people of Rivers State and all men and women of goodwill, even those beyond our shore, for the massive love and support we have received and continuously to enjoy before and during the recent travail that challenged the peace of our state and stability of our government. Let me also use this opportunity to express our profound gratitude to our dear President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, His Excellency the President, Asuwaji Bola Tinubu, GCFR, for wading into near-crisis situation that almost punctuated the prevailing peace in our dear state. Indeed, by this singular effort, our dear President has demonstrated that he loved Rivers State and cherished nothing short of a reign of perfect peace in our states with his presidential peace proclamation on the 18th of December 2023. Mr. President's peace proclamation has naturally elicited mixed reaction from our people and across the country. As a principal participant in the entire saga, I have taken some time to study the terms therein and have come to the conclusion that the peace pact is not as bad as it might be portrayed by those genuinely opposed to it. It is certainly not a death sentence. It affords some way towards a lasting peace and stability in our dear states. Accordingly, I reaffirm my acceptance of the Presidential Peace Proclamation and my commitment to implementing both the spirit and the letter of the declaration in such a way and manner that will restore political stability to our dear state without compromising the collective interests of our people and our cherished and shared democratic value. Already, both parties have demonstrated some goodwill in the implementation process with the withdrawal of the purported impeachment notice on their part and the release of hitherto withheld allowances of the members of the State's House of Assembly by the government. I have said before, there is no price too much to pay for peace. And with the realization that the worst peace is better than the best war, we will strive to make peace with all segments and interest groups without surrendering our freedom or jeopardizing the interests and well-being of the good people of Rivers State, who graciously entrusted us with their cherished mandate. I assure you that we will, in the face of every challenge, always consult widely and confidently to such paths that will best advance and protect the collective interests of our states and people, which is what we have resolved to do in the present circumstance. Let me therefore crave your kind understanding and call on you to have confidence in the process we are embarking upon to find lasting peace in our state, as we are confident that we can achieve stability and progress without endangering the collective interests of our people. I am proud to say that we have successfully confronted the challenges of governance and have made measurable progress in the last 7 months of our administration with various laudable projects and programs. Some completed, some ongoing, and others at advanced stage of completion. By the grace of God, 2024 will witness a speedy transformation of our state with the completion of most of our projects and programs, such as section of the Port Harcourt Ring Road, the Andoni section of the Unity Road, the Ahoda Omok Road, the Emowa Degema Road, and others, and the commencement of many other laudable projects, both in infrastructure and human capital development, as outlined in our 2024 budget.
Arise News analyst Frank Tietie joins us now to speak on the Rivers Governor Siminalayi Fubara's speech. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday, compliments of the season.
Thank you, and compliments as well.
Now, what are your thoughts on Governor Fubara's Christmas message, especially regarding the peace deal, which he says is not a death sentence?
Well, that's a welcome development. He didn't have many options. He should have made this speech much earlier. Again, Christmas is a very timely and quite auspicious opportunity for him to also reenact that kind of acceptance of a peace process that was initiated by the president, which many persons thought was unconstitutional. I have maintained that you cannot invoke constitutionality with regards to what the president has done. It's purely a political matter. It's a matter that gave the president an opportunity to showcase the fact that he's firmly in control as president, and that even in matters that had to do with other political parties like the PDP, he had to intervene. And he not only intervened, he took the shine off it by ensuring that he gave directives and ensured that they were published in such a manner that sent a strong message to all the parties that he was in charge. And indeed, he is in charge of actually resolving the matter. Because if you look at, if you must bring out constitutional provisions with what the president has done, you will realize that both parties, both the governor and I'm talking about Governor Sim Fubara and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, both of them realized very quickly that the president held all the aces and he could actually wield the big stick against both of them, and they had to submit themselves to him. Fubara has now acknowledged and publicly said that he will comply with the directives of the president because they were more or less impositions. And that was what angered many Rivers citizens, because they felt that those were unnecessary impositions, showing that the president was in favor of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, for obvious reasons, because Nyesom Wike actually mobilized a lot of support for the president earning him victory in Rivers State. The same person, Nyesom Wike, is a benefactor of Governor Sim Fubara, and I've maintained from the beginning that Governor Fubara could have done better than this could have done better by not allowing the crisis to snowball into the point where the president had to intervene in that manner, and allowing tempers to rise to the extent that the coveted democratic structure in terms of the Rivers State House of Assembly was first burnt and then inexplicably demolished. All of these were tending to a direction where the president could have invoked his powers under Section 305, subsection 1, paragraph D, where he could have simply, without even allowing the crisis to snowball into a major conflict, by declaring a state of emergency and then having the governor suspended for a period of 6 months, subject to the approval of the National Assembly. All of those the president could have done, but he didn't do that. And so Governor Sim Fubara saw the handwriting on the wall, that the president, knowing that Governor Nyesom Wike, former Governor Nyesom Wike, now minister, is in favor and is actually an ally of the ruling All Progressive Congress, together with the consideration that the 27 members of the House of Assembly have also defected to the All Progressive Congress. It was clear the president had taken sides. Nevertheless, he was so statesmanly enough to give Governor Sim Fubara some measure of fair hearing, an opportunity for the governor to railroad himself back into compliance with his directive, or else he could have moved the big stick against him.
And you're right, the tension did come very close to the brink there. Luckily, things have been scaled back now, but we did hear that the funds for the 27 Wike-backed defecting lawmakers will be released as well. Is this enough for the peace to be sustained? Do you think Governor Fubara has read the writing on the wall clear enough to comply with everything that has been asked of him? And is this enough to keep peace in Rivers State?
Yes, of course. Yeah, like I said, he doesn't have many options, and he couldn't. He's such. I have maintained that he is such in a weak position. He doesn't have much of a political base. He didn't even campaign. He has never been a politician. He was all through his life as a career public servant. He doesn't have that political maneuver, that skill, which a personality like Governor Nyesom Wike, former Governor Nyesom Wike, now Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, has. And that's he was handpicked, probably in the mind of Wike that he's such a weakling and he doesn't have much to support him when it comes to a period of crisis, apart from the ethnic jingoisms that have associated the crisis between Wike and Sim Fubara. And Sim Fubara has not been able to muster any political strength. So he couldn't have in any way withstood either Wike or the president. But again, he has expressed words now, words on marble when he says that the worst peace is actually better than the best. I mean, the worst of peace is better than the best of war. That's a very brilliant and exceptional proclamation to make at this time. Nevertheless, we get signals that the 27 members of the All Progressive Congress, of the House of Assembly of the Rivers State that have now defected to All Progressive Congress are not intended to move back to the PDP. But that's a bit not much of a problem. I looked at the wordings of the directives that the president gave to Governor Sim Fubara. There was a portion where many of those directives will be saying shall, the governor shall, the governor shall. There was a particular one where the word should was used, and it has to do with this issue of should, so it gives some leverage, some opportunity for some discretion to be used there. That it may not be fundamental to the peace pact that they have entered, even if they choose not to go back to the PDP. But what I find very, very interesting is a situation where those commissioners who have resigned will now have them be represented to the House of Assembly for screening again, and then to be reassigned their positions, their former positions. I find that quite ridiculous. How would you expect a governor, knowingly, having commissioners that are appointed that, outside his constitutional powers, knowing that he did not exercise his discretion, commissioners are imposed on him by a third party, or rather a second party like Governor Nyesom Wike. It's actually a coup against the Rivers people. Nevertheless, we have Governor Sim Fubara declaring that he will comply to that. In that case, what it means is that Governor Sim Fubara is clearly afraid of the president and afraid of a particular consequence that may befall him if he does not comply. At this time, Rivers people may just have to heed heed their governor and realize that he is such a difficult position, he's in a quandary, and that he might have to sail through these troubled times. And that's what the governor should have done before now. He should have waited out the days of weakness until the point where he has gathered enough strength, where he has built a political machinery like his predecessor, before ever challenging him or ever daring, like the current president, challenging the former president Obasanjo. When I'm talking about President Tinubu, when he was governor of Lagos State, who stood his ground because he had Lagos family in his control. But here is the governor, Sim Fubara, who does not in any way control the political structures of Rivers State. It was imposed. He didn't even campaign. Form was bought for him. And then within 6 months, he was challenging the very person, his very political benefactor, Nyesom Wike. Obviously, he was headed for doomsday. And I'm sure that he has received a better advice now and is probably on course to having peace for Rivers people. But I can tell you, the Rivers people at this time have a very somewhat a feeling of defeat, a feeling of fallenness, and helplessness. But I think that this is a democracy, and the governor remains the governor, and he's the leader of the state at this time, and that's the direction he has chosen to take. And then it's important that every institution, structure, and personality and authority in Rivers State are lying behind the governor at this time.
Well, you said this is democracy, but is this really democracy? And, what is the price of this peace, in quote, that you say now, that is now in Rivers State, with the governor accepting to implement this deal? Is it not the people of Rivers State, that at the end of the day are being held to ransom? Are they not the ones that will pay the price?
I answer your question in one breath. This is really not democracy, but expediency. So we see a governor that is fighting for his political life. He knows what the consequences are. Perhaps the people of Rivers State in generality do not know. He wants to remain governor. He wants to be able to navigate through using some compromise to remain as governor and possibly to deliver the so-called dividends of democracy. We do not really practice democracy the way it was handed over to us. We are yet to develop our own kind of democracy. We see democracy, what we have in our country is a veneer of what is a semblance of democracy, as if the people truly are in control. No, it's not. What we have is a sort of, I won't call it a democratic capture, but a sort of capture of state and the powers and the structures by elements who have mastered the use of using the people as a means of justifying whatever they do. So it's just using the people and especially elections to justify, what I call the capture of the political power. So the people, for all time, since the beginning of democracy, this new wave of democracy in 1999, the people have always been weak. They're not in control. If not, whenever a people are angry, they tell their representative, because the purpose of democracy is actually supposed to be representative. They tell their democracy, their representative, this is not what we want. Governor, this is not what we want. And if the governor refuses, they now also inform their representative, in fact, not inform, instruct, remove the governor. But you can see, at this time, what the governor is appealing for, I would say, is understanding, is appealing is appealing for pity, and then is appealing for some ethnic support so that he can remain as governor. Not necessarily because he is operating by the tenets of democracy. He must realize that this is a federation, and on the principles of federalism, the Rivers State operates independently of the federal government. There is no reason why the president will act like a senior prefect and call Governor Nyesom Wike, former Governor Nyesom Wike, now minister, call him and Governor Fubara as if they are schoolboys and give them instruction, and they have the instructions published in all the pages of newspaper, and then he waits to see whether they will comply or not, or so that he will either flog them for misbehavior. That cannot be democracy. But nevertheless, it is called expediency. Peace is what is upmost in the mind of Governor Fubara at this time, and the Rivers people at this time simply just want their governor not to be further embarrassed. And so we have a stalemate. But I must tell you, it is the president that has had the day in the long run.
Listen, Frank Tietie, it's always good to have you on the show, and very enjoyable analysis as well. Very thorough. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday this afternoon.